Another day, another drama, and of course it wouldn't be a Fortnite season launch week without a creator being chased with pitchforks by Twitter users simply for having an opinion. Shocker, right? Today's defendant, standing the trial of public opinion, is known by many as one of the happiest streamers ever, really. And if it wasn't obvious already, they're called HappyHappyGal. They are a TikTok streamer. She posts a lot of videos about, certain aspects of new seasons of Fortnite and new content and stuff. And of course goes live with Fortnite and plays the game, is known for having a family-friendly image and navigating the absolute rollercoaster that Fortnite is. And of course we all deal with W's where we get absolutely great dubs, and then there can be not so great moments where we deal with sweats. For a content creator like HappyHappyGal, it's just another day at the office really, where you're dealing with a sweat and you crash out and you absolutely scream at the game.
What? My shotgun!
And then lo and behold, the following days proceed and you're being dragged on Twitter for being called a flip-flopper and not being consistent in your opinions. I wanted to kind of get into the spaghetti and meatballs of that today and just sort of offer my 2 cents on the situation. Yeah, it's gotten a bit big because I do think there is a lot of context being missed here. A lack of critical thinking, and I'm seeing a lot of just Fortnite content creators on YouTube kind of just adding their opinion on it, and it's quite interesting how they'll actually mention some of the things I'm going to go into today, the added context or whatever, but they're not actually like kind of applying that to HappyHappyGal. What normally happens is with either chapter launches of Fortnite or certain seasons of Fortnite, content creators do get invited. I'm not entirely sure if it's to like go to Epic's offices or if they're just offered like an early build of the game, but they are given the opportunity to basically try out the upcoming season themselves privately. In exchange, they'll get a certain payout and they'll be able to speak for Fortnite in a positive manner, essentially glaze the game. For a lot of content creators that would say have played Fortnite for a very, very long time, they have their own communities, and the community is usually happy to see this happen because it indicates growth, it indicates, brand recognition. It is usually a very, very positive thing. Of course, there is like a wide conversation to be had here about opinions that do get shared during these windows of time leading up to a season, and then what can happen afterwards is when actual time is spent on the content, really getting into the weeds of, the meta and the skill-based matchmaking kicking in. You're playing with actual people, because bear in mind, when you're playing these early builds, you're probably playing with a lot of other content creators. It's going to be a very controlled testing environment, I guess you could say. The season actually launches, you really play it for real, and then there's skill-based matchmaking. You're exposed to the content for a longer amount of time, you're streaming it, hours are put into the stream. One too many games go horribly wrong, you just get absolutely decimated by sweats. We've all been there. We've all been there on these seasonal launch weekends where people just from all walks of life absolutely flood the lobbies. The bot count is a lot more lower, and the game is just insufferable to play. I literally can't kill anyone. Everyone is so unkillable, I don't fucking understand it! There is this one massive variable that's being kind of ignored in the narrative here, as everyone is dragging HappyHappyGal. On paper, perhaps it does look like a textbook opinion flip-flop. She's glazing the game, and then season launch day, she's absolutely screaming, crashing out, shitting on the game. I certainly did, so we'll get into why. Epic Games had, of course, secretly broken the entire game under not only her thumbs, but my thumbs, everyone else's thumbs. What myself and HappyGal have in common is we're controller players. And if people did their research, they'd know that HappyHappyGal is a dedicated controller player. And controller players got screwed over for about a day on season launch. What didn't make it into the official launch patch notes was a stealth update to Fortnite's aim assist. Without warning, Epic altered the mechanic under the hood to try and introduce a new tracking system. I think it was to address possibly hackers, and also probably trying to prepare the current loot pool, which had guns like we've got the drum gun, which is known as being one of the most notorious spray weapons over the years, hasn't got the best reputation. Perhaps they were trying to address the auto-aim issues that come from that, and of course, like I say, hackers, people using these mechanics for exploitative reasons just to get easy wins. Of course, we all hate hackers, we all hate it happening to us. It's good that Epic are trying to address it, but this was probably a little bit too overzealous. And yeah, as a consequence, a lot of players did get screwed over. Years of fine-tuned muscle memory were wiped out overnight, basically. You know, I don't want to get into the input wars here with mouse and keyboard versus controller players, but that is what's going to happen. If you switch off an algorithmic system that literally like kind of determines how you aim at other players, and you've become accustomed to that for not just, you know, seasons upon seasons of Fortnite, but we're talking chapters, which, you know, that means it's extending to years of being used to a certain way of playing the game. And of course, like this is an aim assist, you know, feature that not many games are really incorporating like Epic Games does. I mean, they've just recently announced the tweak system. I'm not sure if any other developers are really trying to innovate on aim assist and auto aim like Epic Games are, and they're always trying new things. And yeah, there's just not really any game like Fortnite in terms of like the kind of high octane fights that you get into and how you're able to navigate that with the current systems that are in place. Because Epic didn't tell a single soul about this hidden nerf, players logging in on launch day had no idea why any of their tracking was, of course, suddenly completely gone. HappyGal did what any of us would do when our crosshairs start flying wild.
Every single weapon in this game sucks!
She blamed the new weapons. She literally criticizes the guns of the season, and to be honest, that's what I did as well. Immediately when I was playing on the Friday, and I'll tell you, if you ask any of my regulars that come into my stream, or just any of my friends that basically saw me over the weekend, I was not in a good way. I've been going through a bit of an interesting week anyway, job redundancy and things like that. You know, just thought I'd, you know, de-stress and stream Fortnite over the weekend. Gosh, what a terrible, terrible idea with what they did with the aim assist changes, because I was not really winning any matches at all. It was a disaster, an absolute disaster. I genuinely thought I had just become bad at the game, or there was just something wrong with the weapons. I was really convincing myself that something wasn't right with either me or just like these weapons. I know that Fortnite posted it themselves, but I found out through Hypex, and then that of course confirms why everything was such a shit show. So it just bothers me because that's produced, of course, a conversation. It's an artificial difficulty change, and as a consequence, we've got a very passionate content creator, community leader being dragged through the mud for it, because of course it's made her opinions look flip-floppy. But really, I just think that she wasn't really playing badly. She was just playing a broken mechanic, and the ultimate proof is that, of course, this public hotfix that has come out. Maybe we should just acknowledge the actual context of what's going on here and just do a little bit of critical thinking, because I do think there is a wider conversation to be had about content creators that do get paid to, of course, like speak positive opinions prior to the launch of something, and then of course like afterwards, you know, they're allowed to freely express how they clearly feel, and it just feels very sort of like manufactured. To be honest, it's almost as if like Epic would have known that this is going to happen. There are a lot of streamers out there that play on controller. They would have been affected by these changes. I'm not sure how we move forward from this, other than like we just need to be a bit more mindful and kind when, I guess, like just holding these content creators to like a supreme standard when we're not really applying these standards to ourselves. When have we, you know, ever just remained consistent on loving a Fortnite season? I mean, for God's sake, I think I bounced back and forth between hating and loving the game like 30 times within like a single session. I'm literally hating the game when it's not going well for me, and then I'm loving the game when it is going well for me. But yeah, just wanted to kind of add my 2 cents to the wider conversation, I guess you could say. I'm gonna edit this down to something a bit more cohesive for you all to listen to, and I'll put it to my Fortnite reload match I had. Alright everyone, thank you so much for watching. Keep it shady. Hit the like if you haven't already, and a subscribe. Leave a comment. Let me know your thoughts. I do want to hear people's opinions on this. Take care, everyone. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.